What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and welcome to another episode of The Rundown, where I'm just like, hey, here is a really cool story, and I really dug it, and you guys should dig it too. And this comes courtesy of the post-Civil War landscape. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure you guys hit the sub button, join the Rob Corps. Make sure you guys drop a like and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. So, in Marvel Comics, we know that Thor is just like this powerful guy, but Thor's like Spider-Man when it comes to his strength, all right? Like, Spider-Man pulls his punches. There's been a whole lot of times when Peter Parker's like, dude, I have never hit Dr. Octopus with full strength, because if I did, like, I would knock his head off his shoulders. Literally, his head would be detached from his body, and that would be the end of Dr. Octopus. Why Spider-Man doesn't do that, I don't know. It'd spare himself a whole lot of misery. If I were Spider-Man, I'd just kill my supervillains. I'd go home, eat some cornflakes, you know, get with Mary Jane Watson, have some kids, and call it a day. Like, that's what I would do, all right? But, you know, I'm not Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is not real. He is a fictional character. As much as I would like to be him, I cannot be him, and I refuse to be some crazy guy running around dressed as a spider. So Thor is a lot of the same way. All right, Thor almost never uses his full strength when he goes into battles. There's only been a handful of times where he's done that, and when he does, man, it is a sight to behold. Like, it is something to see. And this is it. This is one of those stories where Thor is just unbridled strength, right? Like, it is, man, it's one of the greatest moments you guys are ever gonna see. Man, I hope you guys are ready. So prior to Civil War, Marvel sat down and they said, okay, look, we've got Thor and we've got the Incredible Hulk. Yes, there's Robert Reynolds' Sentry. He doesn't matter because Marvel's done nothing but screw his character up. But he's like they're like, hey, we have Thor and we have the Incredible Hulk. They're the two most prominent, you know, powerhouses on Earth when it comes to superheroes. We cannot have them fight in Civil War because fans will be like, well, whatever side they're on, you know, that side is going to win. And I guess you could have put Hulk on one side and Thor on the other, but I think that made too much sense. So they were like, let's just get rid of them. But it's not bad that they did that because we got some really good stories. Like the Illuminati, which is like Charles Xavier, Black Bolt, Name of the Submariner, and a few other characters, Reed Richards, so on and so forth. They were like, the Incredible Hulk's just too unpredictable. No one knows what he's gonna do. You know, yes, he wants to just be left alone, but we cannot leave him alone because the plot requires that we interact with him so that he can have his own comics. So they were like, we are going to send him off planet, and he ended up in the whole Planet Hulk event. Really, really cool story. I highly suggest you check it out. I may cover it at some point in the future. That eventually led into World War Hulk when he came back and cut a swath through the superhero community and literally cleaned house. With Thor, it was a little bit of a different story. Marvel, for like 30 years, had been teasing Ragnarok, right? They were like, oh, you never know when Ragnarok's coming, the end of Asgard. But we never saw it. Like, we never really ever saw Ragnarok come along. But that was simply because Thor was really popular and it didn't make any sense to kill him off. It's like, why would you kill off a really popular character like that? DC did it with Superman and it destroyed his comics for the next 20 years. So they were like, we are not going to take that route. We are going to keep Thor alive, kind of. And so they had this event called Thor Ragnarok. All right, it was part of Avengers Disassembled when the Avengers team collapsed and stopped being a team and disbanded. Thor experienced Ragnarok. Now, originally he called Captain America and Iron Man to his side, and he was like, hey, yo, bros, let's go fight some people because Loki's taken over Asgard. Odin's dead, so he can't help us. I'm kind of on my own here. Can you guys help me out? And they're like, yeah, but only for like an issue because Thor was like, okay, now that we've basically taken Ragnarok back or taken Asgard back, I still need to defeat Loki. And then Thor goes on to become Rune King Thor. I have a video down about that. It's an awesome moment. Thor is like this universal threat. Like, it's insane the amount of power that he has. It's crazy. But anyway, so with Civil War launching, Thor's out of the equation. All right, now what happened is during the Civil War event, Reed Richards and Tony Stark and Hank Pym had this genius idea. They said, hey, like Tony Stark, you took like a single strand of Thor's hair, right? When you first met him. And Iron Man was like, yeah, you know, because it made sense at the time, whatever, 1960s comics. And so he was like, they're like, can you clone him from that? And he was like, dude, this is Marvel Comics, man. I can do anything. And so he clones him. So he clones Thor, they make him a robot, then they introduce him as Ragnarok. All right, that Ragnarok Thor goes crazy. Like, it starts malfunctioning, it kills Goliath. You know, like, what's her name? The one chick from Cloak and Dagger. Dagger's like, oh my God, this is so wrong. I have no idea what's happening. But like, Ragnarok Thor was saying some awesome stuff. Like, he was talking some awesome smack. But they ended up decommissioning him, and then they brought him back for a little while, whatever. This whole time, Thor, like our Thor, the regular Thor, Chris Hemsworth, he was in the land of the undead, like the in-between spaces. So he wasn't really dead, but he wasn't really alive. He had basically kind of just left the Marvel landscape for a while. It was a way for Marvel to remove him from the Civil War conflict. So fast forward to post-Civil War, right? Like Captain America's lost. All right, he gave up, so he's currently being held in prison. He has not been assassinated yet. The 50-state initiative is in full effect, meaning that there's a superhero team in all 50 states. You got Reed Richards, Tony Stark, Hank Pym, Carol Danvers, and a few others who are heading the program. And those individuals who choose not to register are basically just being rounded up by S.H.I.E.L.D. and being thrown in prison until they choose to agree to follow the Superhuman Registration Act. Now, Thor ends up coming back. He actually came back during Civil War, but he ends up like officially landfall, touches down, you know, on Earth after Civil War. And so Tony Stark is like, oh dude, Thor's back. Like the real Thor. Like, this is awesome, man. So at this point, like Tony Stark's director of S.H.I.E.L.D. All right, so he's got like all this power. He was like, yeah, man, I won Civil War. You know, like he's hot to trot, right? Like he comes rolling up on Thor. You know, like Tony Stark, he's like, yeah, man, I'm it. Like I've got the most power of anybody in the world. You know, like I've got all this intelligence and all this power and technology. Like he just totally let it go to his head, right? So he rolls up on Thor and he was like, hey man. And Thor's like, what's up? And he was like, dude, it's good to see you again. Like I haven't seen you in forever. You know, and Thor's like, Thor just doesn't really say anything to him. And so Iron Man's like, all right, here's what's gonna happen, dude. He was like, things have changed since you've been gone. All right, I'm no longer just this crazy drunk guy. Like I'm Iron Man. Like I'm the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., man. You got to do what I tell you to do. All right, and you need to register with S.H.I.E.L.D. because if you don't, some bad things are gonna happen. You're gonna get hurt real bad. And so he's like, what do you got to say to that, man? What do you got to say about that? And so Thor's kind of quiet for a second. And Thor's like, yeah, man, you're right, dude. Times have changed. Things are different now. He was like, you're hunting down people that we called friends during Civil War, but you took it one step further, man. You cloned me, and that is not okay. All right, you do not clone Thor. And so Iron Man's like, all right, fine, man. He was like, you know, I wanted this to be easy. I wanted it to be the easy way. He's like, but now I got to put the entire might of S.H.I.E.L.D. behind you. Let me tell you something, people. Iron Man was not prepared. So Thor grabs his hammer and he's just like, boom! I mean, just slams the hell out of Iron Man, right? And Iron Man's just like, this is not what I was expecting to happen, because he's never experienced going against Thor with his full power. All right, so he uses a repulsor blast, right? Like he shoots Thor with a repulsor blast, and Thor's like, man, you better come strong. Like if you're gonna come against me, man, you better bring your A game. And so Iron Man's all right. He's like, let's do this, man. So he starts punching Thor. You know, they start going toe to toe. He charges at him. Thor just like hits him with his hammer, sends him flying. Thor's not even breaking a sweat right now, right? He's like, whatever, man. Like, don't roll up on me, you know, with this weak game. Like, you better bring your A game, son. You better come strong. So finally, you know, as they're going about it again, like Thor shows up and he was like, look, man, he was like, it's time that you understand the difference. Like, it's time you understand your place in the bigger picture. He's like, I ain't no normal guy for you to push over, man. He's like, you may scare all those people out there, but you don't scare me, you know? And so he's just like, Rick James, and then he hits him with the hammer again, right? And so then he grabs him again, you know? And he's like, look, man, he's like, I'm Thor. Damn it. Like, you don't run up on me. You don't tell me what's going on. Like, you don't tell me what's happening. He was like, after Ragnarok was over, like everybody I knew in Asgard was dead. He's like, they've all been reborn in human bodies, and I'm tracking them around. Like I'm finding them and I'm freeing their spirits, and I'm rebuilding Asgard in Oklahoma, and Asgard's gonna be in Oklahoma, man. That's all there is to it. And Iron Man, like he's terrified for his life, because he's like, dude, I've never seen Thor this pissed off before. Like, I've never seen him this strong before. He's like, I was not prepared. And so Iron Man's like, hey man, in light of recent events, the recent events being, I just got my ass kicked. You are welcome to have Asgard in Oklahoma. Just make sure it levitates off the ground, and so it's not touching the soil of the earth or the soil of the United States. So it's not considered to be part of the United States. It's considered sovereign territory, and you do not need to worry about registering. And Thor's like, oh, I know. He's like, you're not telling me anything I don't already know. He was like, but let me tell you something, man. He was like, you go back to all those folks that you answer to, those presidents and those politicians, those military guys. Like, you tell them. He's like, if they come knocking on this door right here, he's like, man, he's like, they're gonna get a whole lot worse than they bargained for. He's like, I'm gonna take them behind the woodshed. That's exactly what he said. He's like, I'm gonna take them behind the woodshed, you know, and I'm gonna show them the time of their life like they wouldn't believe. He's like, I will bring them a war like they can't even imagine, you know. And so he sends them off. He's like, that's it, man. He was like, understand your place in the bigger picture, you know. He was like, you are a normal man. He's like, I am a god. He's like, I could end you and your whole race at any point in time if I wanted to. I just don't feel like it at the moment, because I've got more important things to do, like eat some cornflakes. So with that being said, guys, guys, let me know what you think about this comic. It's actually pretty awesome. I highly suggest you guys check it out. It's a great conflict between Thor and Iron Man. One of my favorites. It's really just, it's Tony Stark being put in his place after he became the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and realizing just because he's director of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't mean that he's got power over everybody. So with that being said, we're gonna bring this to an end, and yeah, I will catch you guys later. Peace.